In a stunning and unprecedented twist within the British monarchy, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie have found themselves at the center of a crisis that has shaken the very foundations of the House of Windsor. For decades, the York sisters carefully maintained a poised, dignified public image, standing beside their father, Prince Andrew, despite the relentless shadow of scandal that followed him. But the carefully curated calm of royal life has been shattered. According to palace insiders, a series of decisive actions led by Prince William and Princess has revealed a disturbing truth that left Beatrice and Eugenie visibly shaken, unable to maintain their composure behind closed doors. The revelation, which exposes troubling financial overlaps and risky associations tied indirectly to their father's controversial past, has escalated the situation into a full-blown royal crisis. In a move that stunned even seasoned observers, the sisters have been barred from attending Royal Ascot, one of the most prestigious events on the royal calendar, a public signal that privilege and lineage no longer guarantee immunity. The palace has made clear that the era of unaccountable royal indulgence is over. As Andrew Mountbatten Windsor spirals into isolation, psychological distress, and public irrelevance, the sisters' exile underscores the monarchy's unwavering commitment to integrity, transparency, and survival. Behind the glittering facades and ceremonial pomp, a new order is emerging, one in which accountability overrides family loyalty, and where William enforced strict, tiered protocols designed to safeguard the crown from scandal at all costs. The emotional fallout has been profound. Beatrice and Eugenie, once symbols of modern, hard-working royals, now face the stark reality that their public roles and personal privileges are contingent upon compliance with the crown's new ethical framework. Their forced absence from Ascot, coupled with ongoing scrutiny of financial and social networks, represents a historic recalibration of royal power, signaling to the world that the monarchy will act decisively even against its own bloodline to preserve credibility and public trust. As this high-stakes drama unfolds, the palace has sent an unmistakable message. The survival of the monarchy depends on discipline, transparency, and ruthless prioritization of the institution over individuals. Catherine's triumphant return alongside King Charles III at Ascot contrasts sharply with the York sisters' downfall, serving as a vivid reminder that in this new era of Windsor governance, loyalty to family cannot override the imperative of safeguarding the crown. The story of Beatrice and Eugenie is no longer just a family drama. It is a testament to the monarchy's willingness to confront internal vulnerability with unprecedented rigor, redefining what it means to be royal in the 21st century. Every decision, every public snub, every withheld invitation is calculated to demonstrate that titles alone are insufficient. Royal duty and ethical compliance are the new currency of power. Behind the palace gates, a quiet revolution is taking place, one that will leave lasting consequences not just for the York sisters, but for the future of the entire British royal family, proving once and for all that even princes and princesses are not untouchable, and that the crown's preservation is the ultimate authority of the British monarchy, long seen as a symbol of tradition, poise, and continuity, now finds itself grappling with a crisis of unprecedented proportions. At the center of this storm are Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, daughters of Prince Andrew, whose past controversies have long cast a shadow over the York family. For years, the sisters carefully maintained an impeccable public image, embodying modernity, responsibility, and grace, all while their father's connection to the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein threatened to drag them into scandal. The palace, balancing loyalty with a need for discretion, had shielded them to an extent, allowing the sisters to continue performing royal duties, attending official events, and representing the crown without interruption. Yet behind the closed doors of Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle, the undercurrents of tension were growing, quietly, inexorably. The tipping point came when Prince William, guided by a fierce sense of duty to protect the institution, initiated a discreet but thorough review of the York sisters' financial dealings and social connections. Working in tandem with Princess Anne, known for her unflinching discipline and exacting standards, William began uncovering unsettling overlaps between the sisters' private investments and individual connected, however indirectly, to previous controversies surrounding Prince Andrew. It was a revelation that threatened not only the personal reputations of Beatrice and Eugenie, but the credibility and survival of the monarchy itself. This was not about scandal for scandal's sake. It was about the absolute necessity of maintaining public trust in an era where every royal action is scrutinized by relentless global media, social networks, and investigators who leave no detail unchecked as the investigation deepened. The York sisters were reportedly blindsided by the scale of scrutiny. For Beatrice and Eugenie, it was a shocking collision of familial loyalty, personal ambition, and institutional accountability. Sources within the palace described emotional scenes behind closed doors, with the sisters struggling to comprehend the full weight of William's findings. Their composure, carefully honed over years of public life, fractured under the pressure. The revelations reportedly included complex financial entanglements, questionable partnerships, and social associations that, while not criminal, were deemed too risky to leave unaddressed. In the modern monarchy, perception is reality, and any connection to past scandals, even tangential, represents a serious threat. The consequences of these findings were swift and severe. For the first time in recent history, the York sisters were formally barred from attending Royal Ascot, one of the Crown's most prestigious and visible events. Ascot is far more than a horse race. It is a stage on which the monarchy presents itself to the world, reinforcing tradition, influence, and status. By excluding Beatrice and Eugenie, the palace sent a powerful message. No royal, no matter their bloodline, is beyond accountability. The decision, reportedly backed by King Charles III, Prince William, and Catherine, Princess of Wales, marked a stark turning point, signaling that the survival of the crown outweighs familial allegiance. The sisters' absence was a public, unambiguous rebuke, and a vivid illustration of the monarchy's new zero-tolerant approach to risk. Within the palace, the shift in governance reflects a deeper structural transformation. Under William and Anne's leadership, a formalized protocol now governs the conduct, financial transparency, and social associations of all royal family members. This system enforces rigorous audits, ethical reviews, and tiered sanctions, ranging from private reprimands to permanent exclusion from public functions and the revocation of titles. Minor breaches now trigger consequences, moderate violations spark public censure, and serious infractions carry the most severe penalties, including complete severance of royal status. Beatrice and Eugenie have become the first test cases of this new regime, a living example that titles no longer grant immunity, and that accountability, transparency, and adherence to the Crown's ethical framework are the ultimate arbiters of royal privilege. Meanwhile, Prince Andrew, now formally known within palace circles as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, has been effectively isolated from the core of the monarchy. Once a prominent figure in royal circles, he has been stripped of military titles, patronages, and influence, confined to the periphery of royal lodge. Sources report that he is struggling with his psychological state, under intense surveillance, and deeply affected by the unraveling of his public and private world. For the palace, his ongoing presence represents a contagion. Every association, every connection, threatens to erode public trust in the institution. The York sisters, despite their own merits and public contributions, cannot escape the ripple effect of their father's downfall. The emotional and public impact of these developments is profound. Beatrice and Eugenie, once symbols of youthful modernity and the hopeful continuity of the royal family, now face the harsh reality of exclusion, scrutiny, and enforced distancing. Their public image, carefully cultivated over decades, is now inseparable from controversy. Their absence from Ascot, paired with Catherine's highly anticipated return alongside King Charles III, highlights a deliberate contrast, a monarchy that rewards discipline, loyalty, and transparency while removing those whose association could imperil the institution. The message is unambiguous. Survival of the crown requires uncompromising governance, a recalibration of privilege, and the prioritization of institutional integrity over individual sentiment. This crisis is not simply a family matter. It is a strategic, high-stakes recalibration of royal authority. It signals the dawn of a new Windsor era, where accountability supersedes tradition, and where even princes and princesses are subject to strict oversight. As the world watches, the York sister struggle serves as both cautionary tale and dramatic illustration of the monarchy's transformation. Behind the palace gates, every decision, every withheld invitation, every public omission is a calculated act designed to reinforce the new order. The monarchy has drawn a line. It will no longer tolerate ambiguity, concealment, or unchecked risk. Titles, lineage, and public affection are no longer shields against scrutiny. That as Beatrice and Eugenie confront the fallout of William's revelations, the broader significance becomes clear. This is a monarchy reforged, a disciplined, modern institution governed not by sentiment alone, but by strategy, transparency, and ruthless accountability. The York sisters' downfall is not an isolated incident, but a bellwether of change, a powerful indication that in the era of the William and partnership, royal privilege is conditional, and the crown's survival is paramount. The palace has spoken, decisively, publicly, and irrevocably. For the York sisters, for Andrew, and for the future of the monarchy, the consequences will reverberate for decades. The age of unchecked royal indulgence has ended. A new era of governance, responsibility, and disciplined authority has arrived, and the world is watching every step of the transformation. The British monarchy has endured wars, abdications, and scandals, but the unfolding drama surrounding Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie marks one of the most delicate internal crises in recent memory. For years, the York sisters carefully balanced their roles, presenting themselves as composed, modern representatives of the extended royal family while quietly navigating the shadow cast by their father's controversies. They attended charitable events, supported royal initiatives, and maintained a steady public image that contrasted sharply with the turbulence surrounding Prince Andrew. Yet beneath that polished exterior, concerns were quietly growing within palace walls. Senior advisors increasingly questioned whether the sisters' private financial activities, business partnerships, and social networks pose a reputational risk in an era when public scrutiny is relentless and unforgiving. The monarchy, facing declining tolerance for secrecy and privilege, began moving toward a new philosophy, transparency above all else. It was within this shifting environment that Prince William, driven by a determination to protect the institution he will one day lead, initiated a deeper internal review. Working closely with Princess and known for her uncompromising sense of duty, William reportedly sought clarity on any potential vulnerabilities that could threaten the crown's credibility. What began as routine oversight soon evolved into something far more serious, as questions emerged about undisclosed connections, overlapping investments, and associations that, while not illegal, were deemed damaging in the court of public opinion. Today, as the review intensified, insiders described a growing sense of unease. Palace officials, accustomed to handling delicate matters quietly, realized that the York sister situation could no longer be treated as routine. The monarchy was already under pressure to demonstrate accountability following years of controversies, and any hint of hidden financial ties or questionable associations risked igniting another wave of criticism. When Prince William reportedly presented his findings, the reaction was immediate and emotional. Beatrice and Eugenie, long confident in their ability to maintain distance from their father's scandals, were said to be stunned by the implications. The realization that their private dealings could be interpreted as reputational threats to the crown left them shaken. Sources described tense discussions behind closed doors, with the sisters struggling to reconcile personal independence with the expectations placed upon them as members of the royal family. For the monarchy, however, the matter was not about intent. It was about perception. In today's hyper-connected world, even indirect associations can become headline news, and the institution's leadership concluded that decisive action was necessary. The first public sign of this shift came with their reported exclusion from Royal Ascot, a decision that carried symbolic weight far beyond a social snub. Royal Ascot is one of the most visible fixtures in the royal calendar, a stage where the monarchy reinforces tradition and unity. By barring Beatrice and Eugenie, the palace sent a message that accountability now applies to all members of the extended royal family. The move, supported by senior figures, underscored the new philosophy guiding the institution. Safeguarding the crown must take precedence over family sentiment. For the sisters, the exclusion marked a dramatic change in their standing. Invitations that once arrived automatically were no longer guaranteed, and their presence at high-profile events became uncertain. Observers noted the stark contrast between their absence and the prominent roles of other royals, highlighting the monarchy's determination to project discipline and cohesion. Behind the scenes, the crisis also reflected broader structural reforms. Under the emerging leadership of Prince William and Princess Anne, the monarchy has reportedly adopted stricter oversight mechanisms, including enhanced transparency requirements and clearer expectations for conduct. The goal is to modernize the institution, aligning it with contemporary standards of accountability. This shift has transformed the nature of royal privilege, reframing it as conditional rather than automatic. Members of the extended family are now expected to demonstrate adherence to ethical guidelines, disclose financial interests, and avoid associations that could undermine public trust. For Beatrice and Eugenie, the timing of these reforms proved challenging, as their situation became the first major test of the new approach. Their experience illustrates the monarchy's willingness to enforce standards consistently, even when doing so creates personal and familial tension. The emotional dimension of the story adds further complexity. The York sisters have long been regarded as devoted daughters, supporting their father during difficult periods and attempting to preserve family unity. The unfolding crisis places them in an impossible position, caught between loyalty to family and responsibility to the institution. Reports of emotional strain reflect the human cost of the monarchy's transformation. While the palace prioritizes reputation and stability, individuals within the family must grapple with the consequences. This tension underscores a broader challenge facing the monarchy, balancing tradition and personal bonds with the demands of modern accountability at the same time. The crisis has coincided with efforts to project renewal. The anticipated return of Catherine, Princess of Wales, to public duties has been framed as a symbol of continuity and resilience. Her presence at major events, contrasted with the York sisters' absence, reinforces a narrative of a disciplined and unified core leadership. The juxtaposition highlights the monarchy's strategy, emphasizing figures who embody stability while distancing those linked to controversy. This careful orchestration reflects a communications approach designed to reassure the public that the institution remains strong despite internal challenges. As the situation continues to unfold, the broader implications become clear. The monarchy is undergoing profound recalibration, redefining what it means to be part of the royal family. Titles alone no longer guarantee visibility or influence. Adherence to ethical expectations and public trust has become the new currency. The story of Beatrice and Eugenie is therefore more than a family drama. It is a case study in institutional transformation. It demonstrates how the monarchy is adapting to a world where transparency is demanded and reputational risks cannot be ignored. For observers, the unfolding events offer a glimpse into the evolving nature of royal power, where accountability, discipline, and strategic communication shape the future of the crown. The emotional fallout, the public signals, and the structural reforms all point to a monarchy determined to protect its legacy, even if doing so requires difficult decisions that reverberate within its own ranks.